Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. It is Sunday, July 14th, 2024, and we're here just for a few minutes. Just wanted to let you all know we have a class session today of my new 10-week online history course that I teach, Black Resistance Movements from the Haitian Revolution, U.S. Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement. Christopher Columbus to the Haitian Revolution, Black Power Movement, 1492 to 1968, 1492 to 1968. So we're teaching this class today. As soon as I finish here around 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a fantastic 10-week online course that looks at the various ways that African Americans fought back against white supremacy and racism. Okay, looks at the various ways that we fought back against white supremacy and racism, whether it was through armed resistance, whether it was through economic empowerment and the cooperative system, whether it's through legal means and the civil rights movement, whether it was through Black liberation theology and the church. There are various ways that African Americans fought back against white supremacy going back hundreds of years. And we look at that in this class. If we look here at a quick overview of this course, okay, and this course grew out of the first class that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Now, for more information, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for this full 10-week online course. And we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. This course looks at different ways African Americans and African people fought back against racism and white supremacy between 1492 to 1968. 1968, 1970, 1971. Your understanding of politics is directly related to your understanding of history. We'll analyze history and U.S. history primarily from the African American perspective and African perspective, beginning in 1492 with the Moors losing control of Granada to Spain, their last stronghold in Spain, and Christopher Columbus sailing on his 4 voyages, and his first voyage was August 3rd, 1492, and that's the day after Spain expels the Sephardim, the Sephardic Jews. Okay, so all of that history is connected. All that took place in 1492. Columbus helps to lay the foundation of slavery, racism, capitalism, and the exploitation of African people and Native Americans, indigenous people. We'll look at the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 and the Haitian Revolution beginning in 1791, which was 1791 to 1804, because those two events are related. And we know that Columbus spots what the Taino called Quisqueya. What Columbus is going to, what the Spanish are going to call Hispaniola, the island of Hispaniola. Columbus spots this island and lands there December 6, 1492. December 6, 1492. This is the island where you have the Dominican Republic and Haiti, or what the Arawak called Haiti, A-Y-T-I, Haiti, A-Y-I-T-I, I think is how it's spelled, Haiti. And is going to be the western third of this island of Hispaniola that the French are going to take over from the Spanish in 1697. And they're going to call this colony Saint Dominique. The Spanish called the colony Santo Domingo. And this is where the Haitian Revolution is going to begin in 1791. So we see that Spain really puts a lot of this in motion. The Spanish were the second ones involved in the transatlantic slave trade, right behind the Portuguese. And we know the transatlantic slave trade begins right about 1441. So we're going to see how this chronology of history leads up to where we are today. But this crucial period of history, especially 1800 to 1968, is preceded by what takes place 1492 up to 1800. Okay, we see a chronology of this history and how all this is connected. So we look at the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 and the Haitian Revolution, and we know that France sells the land that they have here in the land we call the United States of America. They sell that land to the U.S. for is 838 you have about 838,000 square miles of land that they sell to the U.S. for about $15 million. This is the Louisiana Purchase, okay? And part of the reason why they sell that land is because they're going almost bankrupt fighting against the Haitians during the Haitian Revolution. This is one of the reasons. And the Louisiana Purchase, which is signed into law by Thomas Jefferson, President Thomas Jefferson, this doubles the territory of the U.S. at this time, okay? And it also is going to increase the need for more slave labor as well. It's going to increase the need for more slave labor, 828,000 square miles of land they get from France. Now, France steals this land from Native Americans and African people who are already here. France didn't have a right to this land, okay, mind you. Even when you look at the article, Louisiana Purchase from history.com, official website of the History Channel, they tell you that France got that land illegally from Native Americans. And we see this map right here, and we see the land in the middle of the United States in shaded in green of what the U.S. gets from France. Now, this doubles the territory. The U.S. is going to carve out about 15 states from this land. It doubles the territory basically of the U.S. and increases the need for slave labor. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing an attack on the teaching of African American history. We see an increased attack on voting rights. We also see, going back to the January 6, 2021 insurrection, we see an increase in political violence. And then also we know yesterday, June 13th, you had the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Okay, so we see, and there's a history of political violence in this country. And we see that it's going to be political violence that helps to bring about an end to the Reconstruction era that ends in 1877. Now, I don't condone political violence. If you watch the African History Network, you know that I don't condone. I denounced January 6, 2021, the January 6th insurrection that Donald Trump helped incite. Okay. I denounced the assassination attempt on him as well. I denounced political violence. But we also have to understand this history that brings us to where we are today. So we'll talk about things like the Missouri Compromise of 1820 and really look at what leads to the U.S. Civil War. And you can call the U.S. Civil War political violence as well. Okay, you could look at America is torn between basically the southern states and the northern states, and is really over the question of slavery. And the South thinks that Lincoln is going to free the slaves, and you have South Carolina, that's the first state to secede from the Union, December 20th, 1860, about 6 weeks after Abraham Lincoln becomes president-elect. Okay, in the November 1860 presidential election. So we'll talk about Special Field Order number 15, also known as 40 Acres and a Mule. The end of the Civil War in 1865. We'll look at the Reconstruction era, 1865 to 1877. The Jim Crow era, and why Reconstruction ended with the Compromise of 1877, where Republicans agreed if the Democrats allowed Rutherford B. Hayes to become president, then Rutherford B. Hayes would remove the Union troops out of the South and allow the white supremacist Democrats to take back full control of state and local governments in the South. And they're going to start rewriting state constitutions to impose poll taxes and literacy tests, property ownership requirements. We're going to see the poll taxes start in 1889 in Florida, former Confederate state. But what Mississippi did in 1890 became known as the Mississippi Plan of 1890, and this gets copied by many of the other southern states. Okay, and Solomon Saladin Calhoun, who was the white county judge that presided over the Mississippi State Convention of 1890, he said that he explained why they held the convention, and he said, we came here to exclude the Negro. We came here to exclude the Negro. Don't take my word for it. Read this article here from the Washington Post that deals with the Mississippi Plan. And this is what it was known as, the Mississippi Plan to keep blacks from voting in 1890. We came here to exclude the Negro. This is an excellent article written by Ronald G. Schaefer, May 1st, 2021, for the Washington Post. And very quickly here in this article, it says the convention's president, Solomon Saladin Calhoun, a white county judge, put the voting issue bluntly. He said, let's tell the truth. If it burst the bottom of the universe, he said, we came here to exclude the Negro. Nothing short of this will answer. And they were retaliating against African-American men voting, against African-American men getting elected into public office, getting elected to the state legislature. Delegates eventually adopted a literacy test and poll tax geared to suppress the black vote, in a state with a black majority. African Americans were the majority of the population in Mississippi in 1890 as a result of slavery. The Mississippi Plan became the model throughout the South, part of a raft of racially oppressive Jim Crow laws that ended Reconstruction. Well, when we look at the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the reason why you needed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is because of what happened in Mississippi in 1890 and Louisiana rewriting their state constitution in 1898, in Alabama doing the same thing in 1901, in Georgia and Oklahoma, etc., copying what Mississippi did. This is why you needed the Voting Rights Act. So your understanding of politics is directly related to your understanding of history. All this is connected, okay? And then when you deal with Project 2025 coming from the Heritage Foundation, as I said on Roland Martin Unfiltered on yesterday, 2 days ago, on Friday, June 12th, this is part two of what the Heritage Foundation did in 1980 with their book Mandate for Leadership that contained 2,000 policies they wanted the Reagan administration to adopt. The Reagan administration adopted 2,000 of these right-wing conservative policies that focused on smaller government and attacking poverty programs, things like this. They adopted 64% of those 2,000 policies in the first term of the Reagan administration. Well, when you look at Project 2025 coming from the Heritage Foundation, this is a 180-day plan. This 920-page agenda of these right-wing, very ultra-conservative ideologies, this is a playbook of what they want implemented in the first 180 days of a possible Trump administration, second Trump administration, okay? So this is why this is so important, but you have to understand history to be able to understand all of this. The detailed plan to dismantle and reconstruct the government laid out by conservative groups known as the 2025 Presidential Transition Project has critics up in arms over its apocalyptic and authoritarian nature. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C., led an effort to create the more than 900-page Mandate for Leadership published in April of 2023. Now, I found out, I've been talking about the Project 2025 since 2023. I didn't find out when Taraji P. Henson talked about it at the BET Awards a few weeks ago, even though it's a fantastic thing that she did. I've been talking about this since last year. Okay, this is the type of research I do. Published in April 2023, reimagining the executive branch and presented a plan to overhaul several federal government agencies, including the FBI, for the country's next conservative president to follow. And one of the things they want to do is dealing with the Schedule F employees and fire up to 50,000 federal employees and replace them with party loyalists and make it much easier to fire federal employees, which is extremely dangerous. Those jobs are not political, in the sense of you have to have a certain political ideology to be able to have those government jobs. You can be Democrat, Republican, Independent. You don't have to belong to a political party, what have you. Okay, they want to employ a loyalty test and have all these people loyal to Donald Trump. It's just like MAGA on steroids. It's just like the MAGA cult on steroids. Now they want to infiltrate into move that over to that ideology to federal employees. According to the project's website, the playbook provides a governing agenda and a lineup of people ready to implement it to, quote, rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, end quote. It includes a domestic plan and foreign policy agenda, a list of personnel training, a list of personnel, training, and a 180-day playbook. Now, we know it's like about approximately about 100 people connected to Donald Trump in the first Trump campaign, and people surrounding Donald Trump were involved in writing this as well. Okay, like Ken Cuccinelli, we know Russ Vought, who headed up the Office of Budget, his Office of Budget and the Ombudsman. Russ Vought helped write a lot of this, and Russ Vought is also involved in creating public policy for the Republican National Convention as well. It is not enough for conservatives to win elections, Project 2025 said on its website. With the right conservative policy recommendations and properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them, we will take back our government. Take back the government from who? What are you talking about? Take back the government. Take back the government from who? Project 2025's director is Paul Dans, who served as the U.S. Office of Personnel Management Chief of Staff in former Donald Trump's administration. Now, this is Project 25. This is the director of Project 2025. Now, is Donald Trump going to say he doesn't know this guy? Project 2025 is because Donald Trump is trying to distance himself from Project 2025, say he doesn't know anything about it, even though he disagrees with it. This is what he posted on Truth Social. He disagrees with a lot of it, but he doesn't know anything about it. It's just like him saying he didn't know who David Duke was. But there's video of him years before talking about David Duke. Project 2025's director is Paul Dans, who served as the U.S. Office of Personnel Management Chief of Staff in former President Donald Trump's administration. Although it mentions Trump by name, the handbook does not directly assume the Republican Party's presumptive nominee will be the one to carry out its agenda. Well, it'll be people around him, but definitely, I think he's going to do some of it because he knows who the Heritage Foundation is. He's spoken for the Heritage Foundation before. Okay, so read the rest of this here, okay? But understanding this history, all of this is connected. But like I said before, and like I said on Roland Martin Unfiltered, this is the second time that I know of that the Heritage Foundation has done this. The first time was in the Reagan administration. Also in the Reagan administration, that's when you had John Roberts and Samuel Alito, because they were working in the Justice Department, okay, in the Reagan administration. Now they're on the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's go back to this here quickly. All right. How you all doing today? Okay. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for this new 10-week online history course that I teach, Black Resistance Movements. We have it right on the homepage of our website. Here it is right here. Okay. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Scroll down. You see my latest Juneteenth lecture. This one right here, Black Resistance Movements, Christopher Columbus, the Haitian Revolution, and Black Power Movement, 1492 to 1968. So we have class today. I'm going to start in a few minutes. And you just click right here to register for the class. Class is on sale, $80. It's a $130 value. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. There's a bundle pack of this class and the first class that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So that's an excellent bundle. There's bonus content that you'll get from me as well. Okay. There's a preview here that you can watch also. So you can register for this class, and the content is PG-13. So you can use this with your children also. Okay. It's not overly graphic. I don't do a lot of cursing or anything like that. But it's very visual. It's about 80 to 100. It's really close to about 100 articles that we look at, excerpts of books, video clips, etc. Okay. Let me wrap this up here. Okay. So we look at the Reconstruction era, Jim Crow era, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement, Great Migration, 1915 to 1970, 7 million African Americans migrating from the South up north and out west. The Red Summer, 1919, we have about 25 major race riots across the country. That's the year after World War I ends. In Civil Rights Movement and Black Power Movement, to understand how we got to where we are today, to understand where we need to go from here, and really look at the laws and policies also that were put in place to bring us to where we are today. but most importantly, to understand how African Americans fought back against white supremacy and racism, the various ways that we fought back. You had armed resistance, but you also had us fighting back, organizing ourselves into the cooperatives, the Colored Merchants Association in 1928. You had things like the Free African Society, 1787, the Free African Union, 1780, the Colored Farmers Union in the 1880s in Texas that grows to about 1.2 million members. We're organizing ourselves economically. We're creating various types of trade unions like Isaac Myers. We're creating various types of trade unions. We're getting involved in business. We're acquiring land. We're getting involved in politics as well. So we look at different ways that we fought back against white supremacy and racism. We fought back through education. People like Dr. Carter G. Woodson, co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915. Okay, and he goes on to create Negro History Week, which became Black History Month in 1926. So we're fighting back through education. We're fighting back in the courts through legal means. We're fighting back economically through economic withdrawal strategies, economic boycotts, even going back to 1892. And Ida B. Wells in Memphis, Tennessee, when you have what's known as the Moss Store murders, where 3 African-American men who were friends of hers were killed. It was a lynching. You know, she calls for economic boycotts. She also called for us to arm ourselves as well, but she called for economic boycotts. So we look at these various ways that we fought back against white supremacy and racism. Contrary to popular belief, African Americans fought back every step of the way. Okay, we didn't just lay down and take what was dished out. No, that's not what happened. We fought back every step of the way. And when we go through and look at this history, we see numerous examples of this. One of the biggest race riots during the Red Summer was in Chicago race riot in 1919. Okay, July 1919. All right, so visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And let me wrap up here with this intro. How you all like this type of information? Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. It's important to understand this chronology of history to get a better understanding of how we got to where we are now, to understand where do we go from here. Unfortunately, some of this history is repeating itself. Okay, unfortunately, some of this history is repeating itself, and America needs a massive history lesson. This is why Juneteenth is so important, because when we have Juneteenth celebrations, I just did a Reva Martin show. So if you watch CNN analyst Reva Martin, which she also has a radio show on KBLA 1580 AM, which is Tabitha Smiley's radio station. I just did her radio show on what was that? It was June 18th, I think it was. June 18th, I just did her show. And we talked about Juneteenth, okay, and why Juneteenth is so important, and the fact that we have to incorporate history, economics, law, and politics into our Juneteenth celebrations. History, economics, law, and politics when we have our Juneteenth celebrations. It can't be the African-American version of the 4th of July, or as Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango called it, the 4th of July, where we just have a day off from work and we sit around, get drunk and eat pork, play games, things like this. We can have fun at Juneteenth celebrations, but there has to be some history, economics, law, politics incorporated into it to understand how to use it as a powerful weapon to educate our people on what's happened here in this country, on our history. But also Juneteenth gives us a opportunity to educate America on a history that Republicans are passing laws in various state legislatures to suppress the teaching of that history. Okay, so if you go to my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP, we have that video there. Juneteenth was not the last day of slavery, repairing the damage of a legacy of slavery. That's me appearing on a Reva Martin show, on her radio show. So you see her on CNN. She's a fantastic attorney, a brilliant sister. This was a really good interview. that I did. We were able to cover a lot of information. Check her out on KBLA 1580 AM, Ariva Martin in real time, And if you want to interview me on your radio show, podcast, what have you, email me through the website, contact us through our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Top of the page, you can just click on, I think it says contact, contact the African History Network. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Here are our social media handles as well. And you can support us, $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Okay, we have the information right here. Just click right here on our Cash App link, and it takes you to our QR code for Cash App. Okay, look, I have to get out of here. I have to teach this class now. We do this Sundays, about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Black resistance movements, 1492 to 1968, Christopher Columbus to the Haitian Revolution to the Black Power movement, how Black people